What's up, everybody? Damon here on the show floor at Gamescom. I'm here with David Mervik, narrative director on ReAnimal. So let's talk about ReAnimal. This is a spiritual successor to Little Nightmares 1 and 2. Survival horror, some stealth, can be played single player or cooperatively. It definitely has some similarities to Little Nightmares, but how would you say it differs?
I mean, there's lots that's different, really. This is like a shared screen co-op game, which we've never made before.
Yeah.
We really felt that there needed to be this kind of game out on the world. So we did a lot of work on the directed shared camera. And of course, doing like single player couch co-op and online co-op is a big challenge for us, but definitely one we thought was worth making. And also, these are older kids and they've gone through a lot harder stuff. So it's a darker tale. It's a lot more violence. I use that word quite a lot whenever, kind of making decisions as far as story and stuff like that goes.
Sure. So I think the premise is that a young brother and sister are traveling through a very hellish landscape trying to rescue their friends, right?
Yeah.
So as the narrative director, what was the story you wanted to tell here? And how did you want to tell it?
Really, it's a story about friendship and survival. Like what kids have to go through just to survive in this world. Having grown up in a nice way, something just goes on with these kids that they need to confront, and the first thing they need to do is find each other and escape.
So they're trying to survive, they're solving some puzzles, but I believe there's also some room for exploration in the game, is that right?
There is, yeah. You get around by boat and on foot, and we always like to leave little tidbits on the side for people, who want to find out a little bit more about the story, or just the collector hounds, people who want every mask, every collectible, and there'd be a few little treats for those that collect everything.
How would you compare the spookiness level to that of Little Nightmares? Is it about the same? Is it scarier?
No, well, we never really judged it against Little Nightmares. It's more about we always find the core of what we want to do. Like, what's the core of the world? What's the core of the story? And that kind of tells what the game demands to be. With this, it was a darker tale. And we wanted these kids to have really gone through something that they need to kind of reconcile with. And so that just kind of makes it be a certain way, you know what I mean? And like I say, the term violence is always coming through, and same as being scared together. So that's why we kind of made these older kids so that they could face a little bit more.
Can you tell us what the word ReAnimal means?
No. No, it was something that we considered all sorts of names, and it's a difficult one. Like, naming a game can seem very easy, but it's got to capture the soul of our game. And we weren't happy until we found that. And then someone suggested it, and it just resonated with us because obviously animals were in that game, very unpleasant animals.
Yeah, yes.
We're already in the game.
Yeah.
But there was other aspects. If you start picking apart that word, there was other things that kind of sang to us. And hopefully when people play the game and come out the other end in relatively one piece, they'll have their own ideas what they get from ReAnimal.
Did you spend a lot of time coming up with really unpleasant animals?
I mean, we always do. The concept artists, are always kind of coming up with new stuff. And in the very beginning of this game, there was all sorts of stuff coming out of the woodwork. And we started to find that the stuff that featured animals really, really resonated with us, with the world we were getting interested in creating. And so they just kept coming back. And so they all just kind of coalesced around this core of this game. So yeah, it's been quite fun.
When you're making a horror experience, is it tricky to keep coming up with new ideas that'll keep the player engaged? Rather, you can't just do the same sort of scares over and over again, right?
No, it's always a ballet dance, really. You've got to. There's some of my favorite horror movies, like Alien and The Shining. They really, really take their time to build up an atmosphere and a sense of dread and trepidation over what's going to come, because you always know that moment of catharsis is coming, whether it's a jump scare or whatever it is. But you've got to earn that, and that all comes from the atmosphere and creating a certain mood that the players just lose themselves in, and then we shake them out of it.
Sure, yeah. Is there a definite time period in which the game takes place? Because some of what we've seen, some of the imagery looks like it could be World War I, or some of it looks like it's in the 80s, the 1980s.
Yeah, no, we don't really like to have it in a particular place in time. This is really, it's about kind of these expressions of violence, these things that you recognize yourself even, that we see these things and we resonate with them, like, oh, you know, and you've seen these, you know, like you say, you've seen yourself, like World War I, but it's kind of a little, we like to create worlds that are a bit out of time, but still feel recognizable as our own kind of world.
And then would you say you were doing the same thing with the sense of a scope and scale? Because sometimes it seems like the children are very like tiny, and then it seems like they're regular human sized. It's just all dreamlike and hard to tell.
No, I wouldn't. In this way, it's different. It's very different from our past work because it's not so much dream like. This is a very hellish version of where they
nightmare
grow
like
up.
that.
So for me, it's sort of like the scale is a lot more realistic. There might be areas where you want the players to feel a little bit small, but it's not like Borrowers-esque, you know what I mean?
Sure.
This isn't a fantastical world. This is something that's very non-fantastic in that sense, you know.
Yeah.
You want to really feel the kind of the gritty edge, and with that comes a closer sense of reality.
The game looks very cool. I'm excited to play. When will we get to play ReAnimal?
It's coming out Q1 2026, so not long at all.
Awesome. David, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Stay tuned. More to come from Gamescom here on IGN.